Alright, here we go with today's video. Hopefully you guys are all having a fantastic day. Today, we're doing another how-to video. We're gonna do how to do a fantasy draft properly in NBA 2k21 MyLeague. If you guys are interested, stay tuned. If you guys are new to the channel and haven't been on the channel before, go down there, subscribe. It would really help us out. We're trying to hit 4,000 subscribers and we could use your help. So go down there, subscribe. We post MyLeague videos every single day, most of the time, twice a day. So if that's something that's interesting to you guys and you want to see more MyLeague content, go down there, subscribe, turn on the bell. Helps us out a whole bunch. Also, it keeps you notified. Keeps you notified when I upload, when these MyLeague videos get posted. Also, like the video. Helps us out a whole bunch. Cheers, boys. Right, so real quick, we're going to be doing 3 different types of spots in the fantasy draft. So first off, we're going to be doing the top 10, because when you get 1 to 10, you normally get, it's a little bit different. When you get the middle, it's a bit different. And when you get down to the bottom, it's a bit different. We're going to start with the top picks, though. So if you get a top pick, which I have the number 1 pick, I put myself as the number 1 pick to show you guys. Normally, if you get yourself a top 10, you're going to get yourself a top 10 player in the NBA. So normally, you'd either get LeBron, Giannis, Kawhi, Durant, Harden, Curry, Davis, Jokic, Lillard, or Embiid, or even Luka in your top 10. But what I suggest is if you do get one of those, get yourself a player that is listed as untouchable, such as, because we have the number 1 pick, we will take Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's what you should normally do if you guys get a top 10 pick, to probably even top 13 pick, if you can pick up a very good untouchable player. Like, even if you get the 8th pick or 9th pick, you can get Lillard. 10th pick, you can get Jokic. Embiid at the 11th pick. See, 12th pick, Jason Tatum is extremely... Jimmy Butler with the 13th, he's listed as untouchable. Now you're starting to get to the players that you can trade for. Zion Williamson, you could even take as well. In the second round, you do end up with the last pick in the second round, which makes it a little bit difficult, or one of the last picks in the second round, which leaves some of these players. Personally, I normally go over here and pick up either LaMelo or James Wiseman, or even an Anthony Edwards with the 2nd overall pick. But the thing is, we have the 30th pick this round, we'll have the 1st pick next round. If that makes sense, because it's serpentine order, so if you have the 1st pick in the 1st round, you have the last pick in the 2nd, 1st pick in the 3rd, last pick in the 4th, and it goes like that for the entirety of the fantasy draft if you have serpentine on. So with this last pick, normally I would go a young, very talented young player such as LaMelo or James Wiseman, someone who's going to progress really well for your team. So I'm going to take LaMelo here, and we've got the pick next, which normally I go with a decent 3rd option for your squad. So if you look down here, what could we possibly get? Probably I wouldn't go any further down than, say, Tyler Hero. I wouldn't go any further down with this pick. I'd probably take either Drew Holiday or Tobias Harris. It really depends on who you took with your 1st pick. And we took Giannis Antetokounmpo. So we do need a guard, and we could get Drew Holiday. Personally, I probably wouldn't get Drew unless I'm going to trade him away straight away, because in my mind, I'm looking here, this 3rd option player is probably someone that you can use in a deal. So you look at values, you see Drew Holiday as a point guard, you can move him to shooting guard, his value will go up, and his overall will go up. So you got to keep those in mind when you're taking picks as well. Round 4, it's the same as round 2. You go over here and you look at what players are available, what young players are available that you could potentially send down in the G League. So a player such as Onyeka Okongwu is handy. Adeni Advija is handy as well, is someone that you could potentially use. Yeah, look at young players who you can potentially see developing for your team. I'm going to go Pat Williams. You know why? Because we don't have a small forward on our team yet. He can be used either in a trade or even potentially start or come off the bench for us and develop nicely for our team. Someone who's going to be on a cheap deal for the future. With round 5, I have here pick a player on a large deal with trade value, which is a player such as Steven Adams. You can move him to his position to the power forward, and his trade value is going to be 3.5 stars at least. So either Steven Adams, even Otto Porter could work here. Harrison Barnes could work as well. But I'd say don't go any further below, say, Evan Fournier. You know, I wouldn't go any further than that. Personally, I would take Steven Adams. For pick number 6, once again, we're looking at the young players, because Young players in fantasy drafts are really, really handy to have. This player, however, is probably going to be sent down to the G League to develop in the G League and out of the rotation to become a good bench piece or even starter for your team next season. So not the first season, the next season. Remember, you got to think more seasons ahead. You're a GM of an NBA team. You need to think like that. So Kevin Porter Jr. is a perfect player for that. You can send him down the G League. He'll become like almost an 80 overall next season, and he can go straight into your lineup, which will be absolutely perfect. Now from here, normally, like from like the 7th pick down, most of the time I just go with the most valuable player. I do look for probably guys with trade value that you can change their positions, their value will go up, and large contracts, so you can make more trades, more salary cap, which is very, very handy to have. So a player such as Buddy Hield with the 7th pick, or even like a Tim Hardaway Jr. I would even potentially go Mason Plumlee as well, or Draymond Green, Thaddeus Young. Players you can change their position and their value will go up. So always take someone like that in 7th, 8th rounds. Every now and then I do have a look, see what young guys are still here. Like if RJ Hampton's still here, or even this guy, take him. You can send 2 people down the G League, so you can always send them down the G League for next season. You know? And then from here on out, from the 10th pick on, I kind of just go with most valuable, and normally I just sim draft. If I'm doing a fantasy draft, I just sim it from here on out, because players that are available, it doesn't really matter too much. It doesn't really matter too much about it. So I normally just go sim and let the computer do it. So this is what your team ends up looking like, you know. You end up with a very good point guard. You can potentially trade him away. Giannis as a superstar player. That's always handy. Your franchise player, someone you're going to build around. LaMelo Ball, your young guy who's probably would start for your team, you know. So you'd probably adjust your rotation a little bit, see what happens. LaMelo then starts. Rodney Hood is a starting small forward. Not a big fan of that. We can change that around for sure. Move Buddy Hield to the 3. You can have Buddy Hield there. Starting center in Steven Adams. Like, this team is really, really good. Like I said, you could send Kevin Porter Jr. and Pokovsky down the G. I think that's Pokovsky. I think that's how you pronounce him. Pokovsky. I think that's how you pronounce it. Assign them to G League. You know, you can only send one. You need to sign another free agent real quick to send another player down to the G League. So just sign like Robin Lopez or whoever's who wants a minimum deal. Sign them up real quick, and then you can go down here and move another player down to the G League, and you can have 2 young players down the G League that are going to progress for you and hopefully win you games in the future in 2 seasons, not the first season, you know. Oh yeah, real quick, if you guys don't know how to set up a fantasy draft, go to current NBA teams, go regular season, set up options, and then the fantasy draft option is down there. If you want to adjust what pick you get, turn the draft order on, and if you want a fixed draft where you get that pick every single round, go to fixed. But Serpentine is when you get that pick and then you flip the order, and then it flips again every single round. So now, the 15th pick, the middle of the pack. Personally, I think this is one of the worst places to be. You either want to be down here so you get back-to-back picks and get 2 very, very good players, or you gotta be up the top where you can get yourself a superstar player straight up. Every time I get like a 14 to say about 23, 24, I really don't like those picks. It's not fun. It makes the fantasy draft a lot harder. As you can see, the other 14 picks that have gone are all superstar players, superstar level players that are already gone, and it makes it a lot harder to make your team. Every now and then you get lucky and maybe there's a player that's untouchable left. For the purposes of this video, I did get the 15th pick. I gave myself the 15th pick. Normally, Zion Williamson is there, which, if you get that pick, if you get the 15th pick and he hasn't been taken yet, because sometimes he does go like 10, sometimes he goes 20, depends on what's happening with the fantasy draft and what players are going what. But if you get a 15 and Zion's there, take Zion Williamson 100% of the time, or even a Trae Young that you can use also. I also wouldn't be against Bam Adebayo, or even, personally, I wouldn't go Bradley Beal, Paul George, Karl Anthony Towns, or someone like that, because you can trade for them as soon as the fantasy draft is over. Always, if you can, take Zion, because even with Serpentine draft, you're going to have to go 15, then 15. It's going to be a pain in the bum, so take the best player you think you can get. You can use the hardest one you can possibly trade for. With that first round, get the hardest player you can trade for that is available. And then with your second pick, if you get in the middle of the pack, once again, go over to the age, because sometimes LaMelo's still here. He normally isn't, but sometimes LaMelo's still here. You could take him, but we just got Zion Williamson. So we've got ourselves a young player that we can use the entire rebuild. So why not go after a Jamal Murray, who is someone you can definitely use in a trade, or a Malcolm Brogdon, or a Kemba Walker, you know? Someone that you could potentially use in a trade, and with max deal. Personally, I'd get Jamal Murray to pair alongside Zion. That should be a lot of fun. Now with that third pick, go over here, see what young players are here. We're in the 3rd round, and James Wiseman's still here. Perfect player to have on your fantasy drafted team. 4th pick, once again, same with like getting a high pick. You want large contracts with trade value. So if you could pick up a player such as Goran Dragic, or even a Jonas Valanciunas, Steven Adams if he's available, Otto Porter, take it. Take it, man. I'm going to take Valanciunas because you can move him to the power forward and his trade value is amazing. Once again, look for a young guy. You see Patrick Williams is still here. Isaac Okoro. They're all players that you can use on your team in the future. Players that you can progress and do well. Tyrese Maxey. I like Tyrese Maxey. I'm going to take Tyrese, I reckon. He should be handy for our team. Once again, a valuable player on a large deal. I think Terrence Ross or even a Otto Porter will be good for that. He's an 81. Take Otto Porter with like the 6th, 7th pick if he's available. And then once again, look for a young guy you can send down to the G League, such as Isaiah Stewart. He's signed for 2 years. He's got 4 years on his deal if you count the 2 player options. Sign an Isaiah Stewart, someone you can send down the G League for the next season. And then once you're here, I'd take best available, someone with the most trade value and the highest contract that you can trade, or move their positions for a higher and more and better value. So Al Horford, once again, he's still here. Take him if he's there. Then once you get into the later rounds, like the low single once you get into the lower rounds, such as like 9 and 10, keep looking at the age ones. Look for players that you can send down the G League, such as RJ Hampton. He should be a nice bench player next season. And then with like the 10th pick, take Avery Bradley is always handy to have. Or Dwight Powell even, he's handy to have. You can move him to the power forward and he goes up to like an 80 overall on an $11 million contract. It can be worth getting Dwight Powell. Every now and then, just look to see what's there. Normally around here, like I said last time, I just sim because it doesn't really matter who you get. There's no really young guys that you would like on your team that is worth developing, and then the best overall is like a Norman Powell, which doesn't really matter too much. So normally from about the 11th picks, 11th round, I normally just sim the draft. Alright, you ready for the bottom picks, boys? That's right, we're back to being down the bottom of the draft. So this is what you do when you normally get like the 25th pick down, man. This is when you get the dregs of the first round. You look here, normally you can get yourself a good player that is really, really difficult to trade for. Normally you could even get like your Ja Morant or someone like that. Never mind, Ja Morant normally goes. Okay, so once again, you look here, who's the hardest player to trade for on this that's currently available? Who's the hardest player to trade for? Because you got to remember, you have the very next pick, so it doesn't really matter who you pick. You're going to pick a player. And looking down here, hardest player to trade for is probably Devin Booker. Either Devin Booker or even DeMar DeRozan, I'd probably take. So I'd take Devin Booker with this pick. And remember, you got the next pick, bro. You got the next pick. With the next pick, you take yourself another player that is very, very hard to trade for. Well, considering you have the last pick. And I'd go DeMar DeRozan. I'd go DeMar DeRozan. Even though he does regress, you can move that man to the small forward. And his value skyrockets, man. Skyrockets. And then with the third pick, look over here who's available. Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman. I take Anthony Edwards because I got James Wiseman last time. And we've got back-to-back picks, man. So it's perfect for us. With the fourth pick, I'd take a Goran Dragic. I think he's probably I'd take LaMarcus Aldridge. Even though he's an 81, you move him to the power forward. And he's got $24 million under his belt. Perfect trade value. So we're now in the 5th round. Let's have a look, see who's available. Young players here. Killian Haynes, he's currently what? He's currently a 73. Could be worth Killian Haynes, you know. Or we pick up Joe Harris. or even a Harrison Barnes. I'd take Harrison Barnes. He's pretty good. And then with the next pick, we could pick up like a Killian Haynes, you know? It's really, really difficult with the last pick. You're probably not going to win a championship with that roster. You're going to have to look for trade valuable players. Players that have a lot of trade value that you can easily trade away, such as Isaiah Stewart. You can move his position and get a very good player, and then get yourself Al Horford. Once again, move his position, large contract. You'll get yourself a very good player in NBA 2K21. What do? We go over here, have a look who's available. RJ Hampton, we'll take RJ Hampton, and then we'll back it up with a large contract in James Johnson. It's pretty simple, man. It's pretty dang simple. And once again, once you get to the 10th, 11th round, really no point in looking at it, because it's going to be like the same people anyway. And I got to be honest with you. When you do get a team a bit like this, it's not a championship caliber team. I've got to be honest with you. It's not a championship caliber team. You're going to have to make some trades to make the team work. But lads, that's probably going to do it for today's how-to video. If you guys enjoyed it, please be sure to go down there, subscribe. If you guys enjoyed it, learned something new, how to fantasy draft, let me know down in the comments if there's anything you guys would like to see me do, another how-to video, or something about 2K that has got you puzzled, and hopefully I could make a video on it to help you guys out. I do like making these videos to help you guys out, so yeah, let me know down in the comments what you want to see. Like I said before, if you're new around here, go down there, subscribe. It would actually mean the absolute world. We're trying to hit 4,000 subscribers, so please go down there, subscribe. Like I said, I post 2 videos a day on MyLeague content, so if you guys do want to get into MyLeague or interested, go down there, subscribe, turn on the bell. It really does show support and help the video and my channel out heaps. So go down there, subscribe, like the video, helps us a bunch. Takes like 5 seconds to do both, so subscribe, like, all that. Cheers. But that's going to do it, lads. Hopefully you all enjoyed. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.